Hello and welcome to this episode of Spotlight 219, sponsored by Horseshoe Casino Hammerin, offering a premier gaming and entertainment experience in Northwest Indiana. Spotlight 219 is presented by The Times and Local 219 and is a show dedicated to highlighting trending topics and really cool things happening around the region weekly. Without a doubt, today's episode is one of my favorite shows we've done so far. If you follow region sports, you know you were able to win 5 of the 8 IHSAA softball and baseball state championships this past couple of weekends. And to celebrate that accomplishment, we have 4 of the 5 head coaches to talk about that run. But before we bring them on, let's bring in Times sports writer Grace Opinker to give a little background on the season. Grace?
It has been a historic season for Northwest Indiana baseball and softball. It was the first time we've ever had 4 baseball teams and 4 softball teams at the IHSAA state finals. So our sports department at the Times has been very busy the past couple of weeks trying to keep up with all of the teams, players, coaches, and making sure everything flows appropriately. Now that we've had some time to kind of digress and look back over the past couple of weeks and kind of honor those teams that have brought the state titles home, we have began to gather softball and baseball all area teams. So we will be having baseball all area come out this upcoming Sunday. And plus you will hear who our player and coach of the year are. Softball should be coming in next Sunday.
Wow. So what does this look like for you in comparison to normal sports years when it comes to covering this stuff?
Well, let me just say it was the busiest sports week of my writing career last weekend being at Victory Field in Indianapolis. 4 games, 7 articles in 2 days. I was up probably close to 2 a.m. every night trying to get those stories in for either publication online that night or the print paper the following day. And I will admit it got overwhelming at some points, but being able to look back and seeing the achievements these players and coaches have made, it was completely worthwhile.
Heck yeah. Well, I mentioned at the top of the hour because of why it's one of my favorite episodes so far is because I got a chance to coach a lot of baseball, and especially I got to share a dugout with Dave Pishkur, who's going to be on in a little bit here. And it's just so cool to see. That was around 2010, 2009, and to see the growth of region sports in that time period and be so represented at the state championship game kind of gives me chills just to even to think about it.
Yes, I mean, sitting there watching those games, you're watching great high school baseball. And we are very fortunate in Northwest Indiana to have such talented athletes, in the fact that we're able to compete with teams from Indianapolis and further south who are normally stacked with players as well. Awesome.
So do you want to co-host this with me today?
Yeah, I could do that.
All right, let's do it. So let's get the first one rolling here. The first coach we're bringing up here won the 4A state championship softball for Crown Point High School. She's a Loyola grad, All-American, Angie Richwalski.
Hey guys.
Angie. So thanks for joining. Tell us, this is your first state championship as a head coach, correct?
Yes.
Okay, so tell us about the run. What was different for it?
We just had a great group of athletes this year. Just sort of phenomenal in that we had a little bit in every age group. We had great senior leaders. We had a really solid group of juniors and sophomores, and then we even had freshmen. My shortstop was my starting shortstop for the championship game was a freshman who walked in the door, game ready, and really had a phenomenal season entirely, and especially a postseason run for us. So we just had a really good group of athletes, and my job was to just keep them pointed in the right direction and keep their heads on straight. And I think everything the stars aligned, I feel like. And we had a really great postseason. We peaked at the right time. Everything kind of went our way. We had a lot of phenomenal things happen. And it was awesome.
Angie, obviously, Paige Lazart was your star pitcher this season. She concluded the season with 293 strikeouts, which was second in the region behind North Newton's Sydney Rainford. She struck out 16 batters in the state final. I mean, what's your program's potential next season, knowing that Paige will be a senior?
We're hoping to put it together again and have a great postseason run and just a good year. Obviously, we got to keep her healthy. In softball, we don't run with as many pitchers as they do in baseball, so she'll be our ace next year again, most likely. And hopefully we have another sophomore going to be a junior that will step in. Potentially we have freshmen that come in, I'm obviously not afraid to put freshmen on varsity if they show up with the skill set. But yeah, as long as she stays healthy, she is set up to have a really great year next year as well.
Awesome. You talked about a little bit of the phenomenal moments, and we all know talent is one thing, right? And that looks great on paper, but that's got to all come together throughout a season. Yeah. What were some of those phenomenal moments you were talking about that kind of, I guess, turned the story for you a little bit this year? Our schedule is tough. The schedule that we end up playing, we play a lot of really good teams throughout the season. We play some early, we play some late, we play some in the middle. And historically, the last several years, Lake Central has been kind of the standard, the measuring stick, if you will, by which you can figure out if you're going to have a great year or if you're not. And for us, we get to play them because they're conference. We play them early, we play them in the middle, we play them at the end. So you really get to see if you're making progress against one of the better teams in the state every year. And we played them early and we're like, okay, we're in this. This was a great game. We played them in the middle and we're like, okay, we got to figure some things out, learn, make sure we're taking notes and get prepped for when we most likely see them at the end. And then that's kind of what we got to do. We played that sectional championship against Lake Central, and that game had so much energy, so much fire. It was amazing. It was electric. You could feel in the air the fact that these girls wanted it on both sides. It was a great softball game. Even the umpires were excited to be like, it's a good game when the umpires are excited to be in on it. So just managing to do all the work to get through that team set us up for a great postseason run. Awesome. Well, Angie, thank you so much for joining. Really appreciate it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
And then hopefully we have you on every year after this for this roundup.
Congratulations again, Angie.
Thank you.
Thanks, Angie. So the next coach we're going to bring on is won the 4A state championship in baseball. Todd Evans from Valpo. Todd?
Yes. Thanks for having us.
Todd, you look younger in this video than you do in the pictures from the Times.
I think I might have shaved between now and the state championship for sure.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about the run, the week leading up, everything that was going on for you.
Yeah, this is something that had never been done at Valparaiso. We hadn't won a regional, so past the regional, the semi-state, the state was us just sticking to our routine, doing what we knew how to do. We prepped the same way week in and week out, leading up to the state finals. We have we had 13 seniors this year, and being able to manage those guys, they knew their roles, they knew what to expect. They had been around for a long time. We even had 2 juniors who've been starting since they were freshmen. So they also had the same mindset. Last year, we were 20-3, lots of wins there as well. So going into this season, we had high expectations, set those goals, and ultimately achieved, our goal of being state champs. And we always meet at my house before the season starts. We set individual goals and team goals, and that was right at the top of the list. So it was nice as, I think I've said it before, as a coach, your goal is always to win your last game, and we were able to do that this year.
Todd, obviously you played for Valpo in the late 90s.
99.
You weren't able to have postseason success anywhere near what you did this season. So from a coaching standpoint, how does it feel to make that history for your hometown?
Yeah, we always run into that team out east called the LaPorte Slicers. They had some success out then at that time. What's funny is throughout this whole run, Pat Murphy, who was my coach, he's a Hall of Fame coach, has been at just about every game. And to see the expression on his face, and just to know that myself, my brother, Jim Kroll, we're all VHS grads, and we're all part of this coaching staff. And to see us have that success, there's a little tear in his eye, a little tear in my eye to be able to bring that state championship to Valparaiso High School, knowing that there's been so much talent that's walked through the halls at VHS. When Murph was coaching back in the 60s and 70s all the way up through, it just means a lot to the town and to the school itself.
So you have a tough conference, Todd. The Duneland is intense.
For sure.
How did that kind of frame your run when seeing some of the better talent and teams going through the playoffs?
Yeah, I think our conference sets us up well for, like you said, the state tournament. We're seeing Division I pitchers week in and week out, whether it's Crown Point, Chesterton, Lake Central. Everyone's got a guy that on any given day they can run out there and beat you if you're not ready to go. We saw that last year. We were 20-2 going into Crown Point and got bounced by Logan Cotton and Crown Point. And this year, we had the success against Crown Point again in the regional. So you're going to run into those same teams sooner or later. And if you can get out of this area and you're going to go to South Bend or Fort Wayne or, Northern Indy, you're seeing those teams that are going to prepare you to, be successful throughout the state tournament.
Awesome. I'm going to do one more. I'm kind of going off script here a little bit, but being your first time through, knowing Valpo never got past really a regional in a long time, and then you're getting past that stake. How did you keep yourself grounded in the players going through that to kind of know that that wasn't all of it, that there was more to actually have to accomplish?
I think it goes back to what I said before. 13 seniors, they had a goal. They had a great mindset. We stayed grounded. We knew we just had to take one game at a time. And when you're running out pitchers like Caden and Trevor, and we caught fire at the end of the year, we were visitors the entire way through the entire state tournament run. And I actually had to ask Mr. Falcons during our pre-state championship, I think it's like, can we do something to change this? But at the same time, out of those 6 games, we scored in the first inning in every game except for one. So just jumping on top of teams and then letting the pitching and the defense do their job. That was just kind of like something that we got into the mode of doing, and it carried us all the way to the state championship.
Awesome, Todd. Well, thanks for joining, and congratulations.
Thank you. And also, Grace, I just want to say, we're older coaches, and it always meant a lot to us to be able to open up the physical paper and see our articles in the paper. And the kids, even today in social media and Instagram and everything like that, it's still, I think, means a lot to them to be able to still open up a paper, go into a gas station, go out to their driveway and pick up the paper and see their name in their face. So thanks for continuing to do what you do.
Of course. Thank you so much, Todd.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, Todd. Congrats.
Thank you.
So the next coach is someone that, again, I shared at the earlier point of this show, is that I got a chance to share the dugout with for 4 seasons. A mentor of mine, a great friend, Mr. Dave Pishkur.
Hello, Alan.
Hey, Dave. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. Congratulations to all the state champions in Northwest Indiana. That's awesome.
So you've been coaching for a long time, Dave. This is number 9 for you. What was different about this team as opposed to coaching the ones you've had in the past?
Every team has its, they paint their own picture, right? This team was a team that was coming off of a pretty bad defeat to your alma mater, Hanover Central, by 3 touchdowns the year before. And that was motivation for a lot of people, myself included, the ball players. And I think we just kind of went about things with a little bit more a business approach, I guess would be a good way to put it. And we just kind of started in the summertime and did some things differently, and kind of everything was geared for that Hanover Central game. And we've never done that before in my life, but in our weight room, we had the scoreboard of the Hanover 22-2 game. And then we had a clock countdown from close to 360 days when we put that clock up there, and it was slowly but surely. But every time they went in the weight room, they had a chance to look at those two things: when we're going to play them again, and the embarrassment that we took at the hands of them the year before. But you don't win without great players. And we had some great senior leadership, got an outstanding coaching staff, and all that together with making some changes, it turned out to be a very, very meaningful and very eventful and just an outstanding, it was just a fun year.
Dave, as Alan mentioned, you've been at Andrean for quite some time now. You just wrapped up your 44th season with them. Is there another goal you'd like to achieve moving forward with Andrean baseball? I mean, 9th state title, you're tied in the state with Lafayette Central Catholic for most state titles.
I don't think so. I think I just want to continue to enjoy coaching. I still want to continue to have good players, and just have the culture of the team this year was just so fun to be around that I think, again, it was a very enjoyable season for me, but I think the whole team, probably would say the same thing. It's enjoyable for me to coach baseball. Not getting any younger, that's for sure. I'm sure my time is getting toward the end, but I guess there is one thing, Grace. We have a donor that I called him, I don't know, it was a year ago or so, and I asked him, I said, hey, would you be interested in building a baseball field at Andrean? And he said, no. And I said, well, I understand. He goes, how about a baseball stadium? I said, okay, that's good. So we've got the donor, we've got the land, but Andrean and the diocese and everybody involved has not told us where we could build this thing. So I guess one of the big goals I have is to be able to be on a complex that we could really be proud of, a stadium, if you will, that maybe we could be the Jasper of the North and host a sectional, regional, and semi-state before we have to leave our area. But I guess that's the biggest thing, is to look what that is going to look like, to have my footprint on it and design something kind of unique and see it through and maybe coach a couple years with that being there and seeing what we could do from there.
Alan, I'm going to go off script real quick. Dave, you mentioned that you're going to coach as long as you continue to find happiness on the field. So describe the happiness that Andrean baseball and its players bring you.
Well, it's a long tradition. The very first team, I hate to go back way before you guys were even born, but 1970, my junior year at Andrean, was the first baseball team. So I was able to play on the very first baseball team. It wasn't as serious as it is nowadays. I think we played like 14 games. We probably practiced like 3 times all year, and we had some talent, but it was like the first couple years that they're trying to figure out a lot of things. And then I went away to college. I actually didn't go away. I went to Purdue Cal and played baseball there. And so I really never left Andrean. My first job back was 1978. I started coaching volleyball at Andrean and freshman basketball, and actually even had the JV baseball team. And it was like I never left home, but I wanted to build something. My head coach, Nick Cernkovich, was probably my favorite coach, my favorite teacher I've ever had at Andrean. But he was a football guy first and foremost, and I wanted to try to make Andrean baseball something special. Never in my wildest dreams did I ever think we'd win one state championship, let alone where we're at now. But that's a testament to the great players that come through the doors, their work ethics, and their desire to just kind of build on what the team before had. So I guess it's home for me. Never thought about going anywhere else. I've been asked, why do you stay there? And I stay there because of the passion for it. I love what the school stands for. I love the Catholicism. I love the kids at the school. And I mean, again, it's home to me. And as long as I am happy doing what I'm doing and not hurting the program, I think I'll stick around for a while.
Awesome. Well, Dave, congrats on number 9.
Thank you.
I'm sure we'll see you on the links a little
I
bit.
sure hope so.
Oh, yeah.
You know, on a side note, I was looking at Max Prep today, and they had, this is, again, for Northwest Indiana, the number 1 team in the state is Andrean. The number 2 team in the state is Valparaiso. And then in the Chicagoland area, which encompasses some huge, really good teams, Andrean was 1, St. Lawrence was 2, Valpo was 3. So
awesome.
Northwest Indiana has done well this year.
We're here. We've arrived.
Yes.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Dave.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.
So we have one final guest on today, and that is Coach Sean Riley from Boone Grove. Sean?
Hey, how you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
Good.
So you've dealt with about as tenuous of a season as possible, both in your personal life and then also making this run. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's been a grind this year. In February, my son was having problems. He's a kidney transplant kid. He's 18. He had a kidney transplant when he was a year and a half old. So we've always dealt with medical issues, but in February, he was having some stomach pain and took him in, got it looked at. His kidney team at Lurie's wanted to see him. We went there, and while we were there, we ended up talking to 2 doctors that came in, and so they found a 9-centimeter mass in his abdomen, and it was PTLD, which is a post-transplant lympho, some long word. It's basically a lymphoma. It's a really rare and aggressive cancer.
Oh.
And that was, we're in the middle of doing conditioning for baseball, getting ready to start our practice season in a month, and it was kind of a shock to the system.
Well, I mean, amidst of dealing with all of that, which I don't even know how you coach this year is crazy, but to also be in this title run, does it feel like it was all worth it? At least not so much as like obviously the trauma, but to get to the decision to go back into coaching for this season and then make this run.
Absolutely. And there was rumors when, my guys, other than immediate family, my team was the first one to find out. Like I sat them down, we sat in the team room, and I let them know. And within days, there was rumors swirling around at other schools that I was stepping down, and I had guys ask me, and I said, absolutely not. I said, we're in this together. We'll make it work. And we did. And I wouldn't change a thing other than cancer. I would hope it not ever happen, but it did. And things are going well with that. He just finished round 3 of chemo. He's actually on his way home today from Chicago. He had some checkups. I think they're going to schedule the 4th, and what should be the final round of chemo should start like July 10th.
Awesome. Great news.
We're looking forward to that.
Heck yeah.
Sean, we've talked before about how your senior leadership on your team really made the difference from last season. I mean, would you say it was just your players maturing, that they just had more drive to do better in the postseason this year?
Oh, without a doubt. Last year, losing, and they tasted it the year before when we got walked off at Andrean, and then Hanover beat us last year. We didn't have any senior leadership. We had great players, but nobody had the finality of, this is it. This is our last chance. And this year, it was a whole different, the same kids, but a whole different mindset. They were all in leadership roles. They worked with the younger guys, and from day one, that one goal was Indy in June. You can see it behind me. That was our goal. I mean, it started in the weight room in December and January, and 6 a.m. practices. And when you have 6 a.m. practices or 6 a.m. weight room, the chance of getting people there is slim to none. Well, we had dudes show up, and they just worked. They worked their butts off all year.
Awesome. And you had a lot of talent on that team this year, right?
Oh, for sure. I had a whole bunch of talent.
Yeah. Tell us, for people at home who maybe never experienced it before, can you kind of give a little bit of a view into what leading up to that week is for you mentally and all the organization that goes into it?
Oh, it was absolutely crazy to win semi-state. This group of seniors we've never won a section. I coached at Hebron with John Steinhilber. We had been to semi-state 3 times, so I kind of knew the postseason, but we could never get over the hump to get to the state. And I had no idea how crazy it would get with phone calls and text messages and coaches reaching out and doing work to scout teams that I've never seen play, and you can look at stats on Game Changer and Max Preps, but it doesn't tell you anything. It just tells you what they did, but you don't get to see it. And it was a lot of phone calls with coaches who have played against him, who have seen him. And that's how we built our game plan, was everything we learned from the guys I talked to.
Awesome. All right. Well, Grace, do you have anything else?
That's it for me.
Okay. Well, Sean, thank you so much for joining. Congratulations to you.
Thank you.
On the championship, to the Boone Grove Wolves. I mean, that's awesome. And good luck with your son, and we wish him the best, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
All right. Thanks, Sean. Grace, well, thank you so much for co-hosting this one. This was awesome. Great job.
Of course. Thank you for inviting me to co-host.
Yeah, we'll have to do this again soon.
Of course.
All right. Thanks, Grace.
Yep, of course.
So thanks for watching this episode of Spotlight, and special thanks to our guests for joining this week. Also, make sure to check out some of the events going on at the venue at Horseshoe Casino Hammond, including Sal Volcano on July 12th, Jeff Dunham on the 25th, and Straight No Chaser on the 26th. To find out about all things happening in the region, go to the Times website at nwi.com or on their socials, and please check out our Eat Local 219 app both on iTunes and Android. New episodes drop every week on Thursdays, so be on the lookout. Thanks again for watching, and have a great weekend.